Before anybody asks, we should have the MyGM series back up tomorrow, so there you go. But anyway, if you weren't on Twitter yesterday, you might not have seen this, but an apparently credible source in the NBA said the Chicago Bulls are in talks with the Boston Celtics of trading Jimmy Butler to the Celtics for Avery Bradley, the number 3 pick, and I have to imagine the Celtics' 16th pick as well. And I was pretty puzzled when I saw this because I understand the Chicago Bulls are in a state of forced rebuilding, if you will, because Derrick Rose is still suffering from injuries. Well, he's playing, but he's still feeling the effect. I mean, he only dunked the ball like once this season. He shot under 30% from 3. His defense wasn't there. His jump shot isn't there. Derrick Rose is going to need some more time to hopefully get back to something close to what he once was. Pau Gasol and Joakim Noah are both going to be gone in free agency if we believe all the reports that are out there. And then the Bulls have some young players who haven't really solidified themselves, but at the same time they're intriguing. Guys like Nikola Mirotic, Doug McDermott, Bobby Portis. It's a weird situation for the Bulls, and some people actually think they should trade Jimmy Butler because people think the next few years for the Chicago Bulls are not going to be good based on everything I just said, so you trade Jimmy Butler, you get some assets, and you just commit to a rebuild. I don't know if I'm on that side. I feel like if you have a 25-year-old star player in Jimmy Butler, who's one of the best two-way players in the league and has scored over 20 points per game, and one of the best players in the league, I don't think you trade that guy at 25 years old. I mean, this is not a Carmelo Anthony situation where Melo's too old for the trajectory that the Knicks are on. But not only that, I think the Bulls have a chance to be decent next season. For one, it's not like Derrick Rose is just done as a player. I mean, he actually was pretty damn good to end the season. He had 1 month last season. I think he averaged like 18 points. He shot well from the field, and I think Derrick Rose still has an opportunity to be a really good player, and I think you have to give him another season to do it. But then again, at the same time, I can see the rationale in saying, well, if we trade Jimmy Butler for the number 3 and Avery Bradley, we get ourselves a legitimately really good shooting guard, and then we can draft Chris Dunn with the number 3 overall pick. He's our new point guard, and then if Derrick Rose is still disappointing, we can just let Derrick walk and Chris Dunn can take over. I do see the rationale in that, but I don't think that's enough to trade away a star player like Jimmy Butler. Now, if we look at some other ways Chicago could improve this situation, we assume Pau Gasol is going to leave, and given that the salary cap is going to be around $90 million, the Bulls are going to have over $20 million to spend in free agency. That being said, they didn't even make the playoffs, so I don't know if anybody's going to be willing to sign there. But at the same time, a star player like Jimmy Butler might draw some sort of interest. I mean, given that their center position is just going to be vacant this season, it's worth a try going for Hassan Whiteside or Al Horford. Do I think they can get them? Probably not, but I mean, you got to at least make the attempt, right? I mean, hell, Zaza Pachulia is going to be a free agent if you want a placeholder for a season and while you figure it out. Chicago also has the 14th pick in the NBA draft. Could go for Thon Maker there, if you really want to go for a center. But besides that, when I look at the Chicago roster, the small forward is probably Doug McDermott. I don't know if he can be a starter in the NBA. I definitely think he can put up points. I mean, there was a 2-month stretch last season where he scored about 12, 13 points a game, shot well from the field, over 50%, I believe, or about 46, 47, and he shot over 40% from 3. So McDermott can definitely be useful on the offensive side of the floor, but when we're looking at his defense and his athleticism and his ability to dribble, I don't know if he can be a starter in the NBA, but I definitely think he can be a quality piece for Chicago for a while. Nikola Mirotic, he hasn't shot well from the field since he entered the NBA. Not really an imposing front court player in terms of posting up, not a great rebounder, but he has shot well from 3, so if anything, Mirotic might just be Ryan Anderson 2.0, which is not a bad thing. I actually think Chicago's long-term option at power forward right now is probably Bobby Portis. Interestingly enough, Portis played about 10 less minutes than Taj Gibson this year, but their numbers are like almost identical. I mean, I think Bobby Portis, given the roster they have, he's kind of the starting power forward by default, but I also think he's an intriguing player as well. And Taj Gibson is interesting because Gibson, he's over 30 years old at this point. I think it might be time to trade him, and I think teams would definitely be willing to take on Gibson because he's a good defender, he's not bad from mid, he's a decent enough offensive rebounder, like he definitely has a place on a team. You might be able to acquire yourself a young player, maybe even a draft pick for Taj Gibson. I think I would definitely explore moving him. But if you're Chicago, I don't think you need to blow this whole thing up just yet and say, screw it, we're trading Jimmy and we're going to suck for the next 5 years. I still think we can give Derrick Rose one more season of an opportunity. You might do well in free agency. You might draft the next Devin Booker late in the lottery. Bobby Portis might jump up to like 15-10 next season because he looked pretty good in his rookie year. There's too many variables. You don't give up on this just now. If you suck next season and Jimmy Butler says, I want out of here, okay, then you do it, because then you know for a fact that you're going nowhere. But as of right now, there's still a decent amount of unknown with the Chicago team, at least in my opinion. But then again, for all I know, maybe Jimmy Butler will end up on my Celtics, and I'll be happy as hell for it. Jimmy Butler and Brad Stevens' offense, that would be amazing. But I don't think Chicago needs to do it just yet. Anyway, I'm done. My GM back tomorrow. And what the hell, there's a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. LeBron James is a frickin' god. It's getting weird in the NBA, man.